Tejashwi Yadav, this big announcement for the women. Then there is the whole chief minister, whether the NDA so far has said that they are fighting the election under Nitish Kumar. There are questions there as well whether he remains the chief minister even if they win. But Tejashwi Yadav has put his foot down. He wants the Mahagathbandhan to announce him as the chief ministerial face. Ashok Gehlot has been sent. I'll get you that story as well. And the third one is Prashant Kishore hitting out at the BJP and the NDA, saying his candidates are being intimidated. Jan Swaraj candidates, 3 of them have supported the BJP leaders. Prashant Kishore says it is under duress. I'll get you all these 3 stories. Let's start with the first one. RJD leader Tejashwi Yadav today called a press conference and said that Jeevika Didi, women associated with the state's rural livelihood mission, will be granted government employee status. He said that a monthly salary of 30,000 rupees will be given to these women. Remember, Tejashwi Yadav already has said that in every household of Bihar where there is no government job, if he is chosen, if people of Bihar choose him as the chief minister, Mahagathbandhan as the government, he is going to make sure that they get a government job. And part of it would be Jeevika Didis being made permanent as a government employee. Now, Tejashwi Yadav said that the extent of the exploitation faced by Jeevika Didis, who were the focus of many announcements which were made by the NDA as well, it can't be described. The former Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Tejashwi Yadav, made several big election announcements. I want to take you to these election announcements one by one. This is the big Mahila voter promise and how women are at the center of this election. What Tejashwi Yadav has said, he has said that government job at 30,000 rupees per month to Jeevika Didi under the scheme. Now, interest-free loans will also be given to women. Yojana, under that, there is going to be house plus food and salary would also be given to women. 10,000 rupees per year for women under the Ma Beti Yojana. And 2,000 rupee allowance would also be given in government jobs. Up to 5 lakh rupee insurance has also been announced for women. So after Nitish Kumar's big, cash in hand, 10,000 rupee one time, Tejashwi Yadav has come up with a counter. The question is, for a state like Bihar, where is the money going to come from? And that is a question for both the NDA and the Mahagathbandhan. Let's listen in to Tejashwi Yadav.
जितनी जीविका सीएम दीदियां हैं यानी कम्युनिटी मोबिलाइजर्स हैं, उन सभी सीएम दीदियों को स्थायी कर उन्हें सरकारी कर्मचारी का दर्जा देकर उनके वेतन को 30,000 प्रति माह हम लोग करेंगे। आज हम कह रहे हैं कि जितनी जीविका दीदी, जितनी सीएम दीदियां हैं, उनको स्थायी किया जाएगा और 30,000 रुपए प्रति माह हमारी सरकार बनने पर उन जीविका सीएम दीदियों को दिया जाएगा। जीविका समूह की दीदियों द्वारा लिए गए लोन के सूद को माफ करा जाएगा। यानी अब तक जितनी जीविका दीदी लोन ली है, जो उनका इंटरेस्ट है, उसको इंटरेस्ट को हम लोग माफ करने का काम करेंगे।
महिलाओं के सशक्तिकरण, आर्थिक सशक्तिकरण, जो हमने 75 लाख महिलाओं को 10,000 रुपए देने का कार्य किया, वो सिर्फ घोषणा नहीं की, कार्य किया है। और बिहार में इससे पहले के दौर में भी श्री नीतीश कुमार जी के आने के बाद महिलाओं के और लड़कियों की शिक्षा के विकास से लेकर हमारी जब सरकार आई तब महिलाओं में शिक्षा दर बिहार में 33% थी, अब 74% है। हमारा 10 साल का एक व्यवस्थित सोच है और ये कोई चुनावी प्रक्रिया में होने वाला नी जर्क रिएक्शन नहीं है तेजस्वी जी, जो आप खिसियाहट बौखलाहट में, जिसे सामान्य शब्दों में कहते हैं खप्तुल हवास होकर बयान देने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं.
So what BJP does is a well thought out strategy. If the Mahagathbandhan it tries to in fact put out what they think, the sops you want to call it, aid you want to call it, election freebie you want to call it, that becomes something that they have not thought it through. But like I said, both the Mahagathbandhan and the NDA have gone on a limb to try and woo the women voters. Let's just I'll give you a comparison of how it is happening in the state of Bihar, the sops for women. Direct transfer, 10,000 rupee month, that was given by Nitish Kumar's government right just before the Model Code of Conduct came into play. Financial support of up to 2 lakh rupees also for women entrepreneurs. If you have a plan, you go, you'll get 2 lakh rupees. 105 crore loans entrepreneurship support is also been announced by Nitish Kumar-led Bihar government. To counter that, Mahagathbandhan has said government job and 30,000 rupee per month is what Tejashwi Yadav promised today. 30,000 a year under Ma Beti Yojana. 2,000 allowance in government jobs. Interest-free loans for entrepreneurs is what, for 2 years at least, is what Tejashwi Yadav has promised. They are going all out to woo the voters of Bihar, and especially the women. Prabhakar, my colleague, is joining us at this moment. Very quickly, Prabhakar, I mean, this question I would have asked to politicians from either side. Have they accounted where is the money going to come from? Tejashwi Yadav, after Nitish Kumar, just before the Model Code of Conduct came into play, 10,000 rupees were transferred. Tejashwi is going one up on that, isn't it?
Yeah, but actually nobody has factored that in. Why single out Tejashwi Yadav? Even the NDA, even the Nitish's government has not factored in the kind of money, the kind of promises they have actually doled out for women. They have already transferred around 50,000 crore rupees, but this is an ongoing project. So, and the amount increases. If the woman shows performance, the amount increases from 10,000, it would go up to 50 and then to 2 lakhs. So they're talking about huge money out here. Nobody has factored in. So it's a war of freebies, I would say, but Tejashwi Yadav has gone a step ahead. Now, the two main important takeaways from his promise, though he has a series of promises made today, but two important one which will actually, which he would hope that it would reap results in the coming election. One is the confirmation of all contract workers of Bihar. So that's a huge promise. That's a long pending demand of all the contract workers working in the government of Bihar on contract. So he's saying that they will all be taken on the government roll, which would actually have quite an effect, and RJD would like to believe that. And the second is 30,000 rupees salary and a government job to all the Jeevika didis. Jeevika didis is a flagship program of Bihar government, and all this entire money of Mukhyamantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana, where 10,000 rupees is being given, they're all going to Jeevika didis. So Jeevika didis are the most crucial women force of the present government, as in Nitish's government here. Now, Tejashwi Yadav, by making this promise, is trying to dent into that. Tejashwi Yadav is saying that you will get a confirmed government job, 30,000 is the minimum salary you will get, and plus there are the stipends, there are the loan waivers and etc. So these two important points he has made, and he is hoping that this would actually have an effect. It percolates down to the last man on the ground, and it would have an effect when those people actually come down to polling booth for voting.
I don't know about the last man, but the last woman would be very, very happy, Prabhakar, to hear that everybody is only talking about them as far as this election is concerned. Stay on with me. We'll just break it down and keep talking about this. Why are the women so important? And to understand this further, I would also be going across to Amitabh Tiwari, founder of Votebank. Votebank. He is somebody who's keeping a very close watch as far as the elections of Bihar are concerned, doing a weekly tracker. Great insights that we get from Amitabh's weekly tracker. Neerja ji is also joining us. Neerja Chaudhary, I don't have to introduce her. She is a fantastic political analyst, reporter who has seen many elections under her belt. She wrote extensively about this woman factor of Bihar as well. Before I get them to speak about this, why is it that women become such an important factor as far as Bihar elections are concerned? Just take a look at these numbers, ladies and gentlemen, of how the women voters the numbers of women voter is going up as far as every election is concerned. Now, this is the power map of Bihar. What it tells you is the 2020 assembly election turnout. Female versus male voter turnout is what you are seeing at this moment. And you would see that the female voter turnout is consistently, going up as far as this, map is concerned. What it also tells you, ladies and gentlemen, it gives you a sense, and we'll get Amitabh to speak on this as well. It tells you how women, out of the 243 constituencies in the 2020 polls, the women voter turnout was higher than men in 167 constituencies and lower in only 76 constituencies. Of the 167 constituencies where women voter turnout was higher, 95 of these constituencies were won by the NDA. Nitish Kumar led NDA had a clear edge over 95 constituencies as far as the women voters are concerned. Of the 43 constituencies won JDU by JDU in 2020, 37 seats were where the women voted more than men. This clearly suggests that women preference is Nitish Kumar, and data after data will tell you Nitish Kumar still enjoys that popularity. Overall, JDU received about 15.4% votes in Bihar in 2020, but JDU's vote share as far as the women voters are concerned was 16.6% in the constituencies where the women outvoted men as far as 2020 elections are concerned. JDU vote share was just 12.6%. This trend was not only in 2020, but in 2015 as well. If I talk about 2015, JDU won 71 assembly seats, of which 61 witnessed higher voter turnout. Similarly, in 2010, JDU won 115 seats, out of which 79 seats that they won saw women outvoting men. The 2020 assembly election was conducted in 3 phases. In the first phase, male voter turnout was 2% higher. In the second phase, women voter turnout was 6% more than the men. And in the last phase, ladies and gentlemen, the difference was more than 10%. And that's where eventually we saw the NDA pulling through. Amitabh Tiwari is with us, so is Neerja Chaudhary. Neerja ji, let me start with you. As I was saying that you have written extensively about the Mahila factor, the new MY combination. What do you make of this, data that we have been speaking about, and also Tejashwi Yadav's attempt to try and take away one of the most solid vote bank that Nitish Kumar has, the women voter?
I think it is an acknowledgement by political parties that women are becoming a constituency by themselves. So far, women have voted as their families wanted, their menfolk wanted, but today probably women are the most aspirational group in the country, and that includes Bihar. And somewhere Nitish Kumar 20 years ago put his finger on that pulse of the changing role and changing aspirations of women in his state, when he gave cycles and uniforms to girls to encourage them to go to school, and this led to an increase in enrollment rates and a drop in the dropout rates. And of course, then we know he followed it up with reservations for women in government, in the police force, policy of prohibition, in response to a demand by women because of domestic violence, drunkenness, and now what you talk about, 10,000 rupees under the Mukhya Mantri Mahila Rozgar Yojana, M3RY. And to counter that today, Tejashwi Yadav, in order to add that plus factor to the MY vote base that they have, the Mahagathbandhan has, he has reached out majorly to women voters. Now, his scheme of declaring Jeevika didis as government servants, that's a very attractive proposition. Now, 30,000 is a big sum.
Yes.
There'll be question marks on whether they'll be able to deliver. In contrast, Nitish Kumar has already delivered those 10,000 rupees to over 1 crore women. It's gone into their hands. Mahagathbandhan has been a bit late in the day addressing women, but the things that they have come out with, confirmation of all contract workers, a very attractive proposition.
Okay.
How much of a difference is going to make? The M
Right.
factor. But M factor now is here to stay in Bihar and probably in the states that are going to the polls next year.
Absolutely. We have seen state after state now this being worked as an important factor. Amitabh, but does this also somewhere is now a changing face of the voters across the country, especially the women voter, a very transactional voter? Tell me what you have for me and I will decide whether I want to then break the caste combination and vote above that, for us in a state like Bihar. Nitish Kumar has made this woman voter after years of giving them something or the other, as Nirja was, telling us. With Tejashwi Yadav's announcement, how do you see that making an impact, as far as the election is concerned?
No, see, essentially, if you see, there is a lack of women leadership in both NDA and Mahagathbandhan. I mean, we would be struggling to name top five women leaders of Bihar today across parties, all of us, despite being in this field. Correct. So the needs, aspirations, issues of women are not discussed openly or are not in the knowledge of political parties mostly, which is again, the workers and the leaders are dominated by males. The women are also believed to be caste neutral. See, women in Bihar different from women in other states in the sense that since a large section of men go out as migrants, the women are the, you can say, housemakers in that sense. They are running the house with whatever amount their husbands or relatives are sending from the states and with the support of the state government. So Nitish has developed this core vote block, and you have shown the figures. Clearly, amongst the women-led constituencies, NDA led by almost 40 seats, and it trailed by almost 25 seats in where the men outvoted women. So you can see the difference. Clearly, men voted for, or a large section of men backed the Mahagathbandhan, and a large section of women backed the NDA. So the needs, aspirations are different. 10,000 rupees has already been distributed. That is 1.21 crore women. Now, this announcement of Tejashwi Yadav could neutralize some of this, you can say. It comes too late, I would say, because the Mahila Rozgar Yojana has been announced almost 1.5 months back. Correct. So the announcement is a bit late in that sense. And the promise also, if 30,000 per month is given, which is 3.6 lakh per Jeevika Didi, and there are 1.4 crore Jeevika Didis.
Yes.
Amount 5 lakh crore, which is higher than the state budget of Bihar. So sometimes when you promise the moon, what happens is that question marks arise about the practicality of those promises. And a cash received in hand is considered or may be considered as much more valuable than something will be received in the future, because future is risky and is
I agree with what you're saying, but the financial cost of it at this moment, I don't think so. Even with the NDA to continue doing what they are doing, they have not calculated it post-election. Everybody is only focusing on making these promises, ensuring that the vote comes to them. But other important aspect, and I just want to focus on this before I go back to my guest for a question on this, is the fact that while you are talking about the Jeevika Didi and giving women their due, how much and how many tickets have been given by political parties to bring women into the decision making as far as the legislative is concerned? Just take a look at this. In the current assembly election 2025, out of the 143 candidates that the RJD has put up, 24 candidates are women. That gives them a ratio of about 16.7%. Take their partner in Mahagathbandhan, Congress, 61 seats, 5 women. That's 8.6%. In JDU, where Nitish Kumar is seen as the messiah, as you know, for the women and the kind of schemes that he has announced. 101 seats they are fighting, only 13 seats have been given to the women. That's about 12.8%. BJP, again, 13 seats have been given to women. That's about 12.8%. LJP, out of 29, 6 seats have been given to women. That's about 20%. And total, the NDA is standing at 35 women candidates out of 243. That's 14.4%. And Mahagathbandhan, 32. That's about 13%. This tells you that despite all these promises, that no political party has even touched 33% that we keep talking about as far as the women reservation is concerned, or the kind of participation that at least we would want in the assembly. Neerja ji, just keeping this data in mind, the political parties only take women as labhartis, as vote bank. You give them schemes, they will benefit and come vote for you. When it comes to leadership, this data clearly shows that this is not the best foot put forward by any political party. Nobody has touched 33%, with RJD only leading marginally at 16.7%.
No, absolutely. Though I must say it's a little, I don't remember the figures, but I think it's a little better than the past elections in different states. But I agree with you, 33% is a far cry, and particularly when the Prime Minister has very clearly said that what we need are not women as labhartis, as you say, but a women-led development. That's a very different ballgame. A women-led politics. If the reservation bill giving 1/3 of seats to women in parliament and legislative assemblies, which is being passed by parliament, but is hanging out there till the delimitation exercise takes place to come to fruition, then I think all the political parties really need to look at this and take a corrective course. Of course, as far as the Congress goes, at one time, if you remember, in Uttar Pradesh, when Priyanka Gandhi had led this about giving 40% of seats to women. Of course, they had lost deposits, but then that is because the Congress didn't have an organization worth the name.
Yes.
But they gave up on that theme very quickly rather than pursuing it. But if women are now demanding their due under the sun, which is their due, then the parties will have to do better than what we see in terms of...
Absolutely. It's just not about the Jeevika Didi or trying to give them something before the elections and trying to get their votes. So women empowerment is, truly, you don't have to wait for the women reservation bill to come into effect. If the political parties are serious, they could in fact go ahead and show this. But as Amitabh would always say, political parties are quite practical. Winnability is the most important thing. I'm surprised that in a state like Bihar or any other states, political parties can't even find 33% women who they think can actually win the elections.